Hey guys, it's your girl Jazzy J on this beautiful cold morning. This is my second time trying to record this video. Last time I recorded, I thought it was recording for 10 minutes of talking and it wasn't recording, which got me mad. Hey guys, coming to you live. Today I want to talk about DNA. And before I get into DNA, I just want to say I don't understand why the Italians, the Portuguese, a lot of Latin people, as well as some Greeks and some other ones, just cannot accept the fact they have African in their blood, African black in their blood. Why do they always deny it? Especially the Italians. Not only does history tells you, but also DNA now tells you. You combine both of them. You cannot disagree with it. That's what you are. You have some African in you. That goes for the Greeks, the Italian, as I said, the Italians, the Greeks, the Portuguese, the Latin. A large part of them just, Portuguese, they just don't want to accept the fact they have African in them. Before DNA, history says it. Now DNA tells you you do. Like I was looking at reading a comment this guy, well, not a comment, like he was telling his story about his DNA. And, he said, okay, Italians are a mixture of different things. So he was, okay, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, Middle Eastern, okay, Greek. And when he get to the North African part, he's like, okay, that they must just mean Middle Eastern. Well, they already told you you were Middle Eastern. There's not two there's no two Middle Easterns. So there is other people that live in North Africa that are in North Africa beside Middle Eastern people. There is black Africans that live. So he just could not, in his mind, accept that what it's telling him is you have some African in you. You know, why is it so hard to just accept? And I to some point I do understand, especially like, let's say Europe, North North American white person who lived their whole life with white privilege and do their DNA and it comes back, you're not as white as you think you are. I can understand, like you lived your whole life as a white person with all the privilege and you hate black people or you hate these group people or whatever. And it comes back telling you you are the people that you hate. What some people like to do is to just pick out, like if they don't like certain thing, part of their DNA, they'll just pick one group out of their DNA and say, okay, that's what I am. And then just deny the other part. And it's the one thing that DNA does not do is lie. DNA does not lie. It tells you the story of your family. It tells you the story about who you are. Also, I want to say that you cannot base things on skin tone. Sometimes people look at someone and go, oh, they must just be black. They must just be this, or they just must be that. Basing things on skin tone. You cannot just look at someone and say, okay, you just must only be this or you must only be that. Because skin tone doesn't tell you the story. It gives you a hint of something, but it doesn't tell you the entire story. DNA can be very fascinating, very interesting and surprising. Before I did my DNA, I wanted to know because, I knew that, yes, I had African ancestors, but also when I look at like my father's side of the family, especially his mother side of the family, they don't look like me. A lot of them are very pale and, especially, it's like I look at my grandmother's side of the family, and it's like their father's side of the family, and they're very pale. Their hair is different. They have European features. I look at my father, and his hair is different. Even though we have similar skin tone, his hair is different. His hair, he's got like, as, they used to say, oh, your father has pretty hair. And is he East Indian? His hair is different. He doesn't look like me. He doesn't look like me. I look more like my mother's father's side of the family. So I was just curious. I wanted to know, like what other part of so so before I did my DNA, I had those questions like where does what part of the other part of the world my ancestors came from? So when I did my DNA and I waited and waited, things were going through my mind like, oh my God, like what is it gonna say? What is it gonna say? I can't wait. I was very excited. Actually, to be honest, I hold on to that test for a while because, but the test before I did it because I was afraid like what is it going to tell me? What is it going to tell me? But anyways, I went and did it and I waited and when it came back, certain things weren't surprising. The African part didn't surprise me. What surprised me about the African part was that my ancestors came from like seven different African countries. Well, areas of regions of Africa, not countries, regions of Africa. I was like, wow, Ghana, Nigeria, North Africa, South Africa, Central Africa, and East Africa was up in there. Which was like, oh, because I thought it was just going to come back saying one African country, not like seven different regions of Africa, which was quite surprising to me. It also came back that I had Irish, I had British, I had Scandinavian, I had South and East Asian. It also came back two other things that just blew me out of the waters, which was Caucasus and Native American. I was like, oh my God, Native American and Caucasus. Like, wow. What is Caucasus, by the way? What is Caucasus? So I looked up because I thought these people were making it up because I'm like, there is no such thing as Caucasus. I looked it up and it says Caucasus region is from the Caspian Sea. Like you have Russia and Georgia, the country. That's around where the Caucasus people are. And the whole Native American thing really was like Native American. I was like, wow, I was like, wow, Native American, wow. I had ancestors that lived here before Christopher Columbus came. Like, wow, this is very interesting. As I said, South and East Asia. I was like, wow, okay, South and East Asia, interested. The Irish surprised me. The British one did not surprise me, but the Irish. Scandinavian one was like, Scandinavian? What? And also, I was trying to figure out when it also says that I had Northwest Russian. I was like, what is Northwest Russian? Like, it said Finland, Northwest Russia. Sorry, Finland, Northwest Russia. I was like, okay, Finland, Northwest Russia, okay. So I figure out, okay, so they mean from Finland to where Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania is, okay, so that's somewhere where my ancestors came from. So DNA can come back very surprising. It can just completely you have to be prepared for whatever it tells you. So if it tells you that you have some African in you or you got some Asian in you or whatever, you have to believe it. You cannot deny it. You cannot deny your ancestors. If you have African in you, you cannot deny it. You cannot deny your ancestors because that's part of you. When you deny your ancestors, you're denying part of you. You're denying who you are. So a lot of people they get mad at the DNA and get mad at the DNA people like, oh my God, no, I can't have African in me, and oh, how come I don't have you know Chinese in me because my great grandmama told me we got some Chinese or we got some Native American. Now how come I don't have? Sometimes when stories get passed down, they're told wrong. So by the time it get to the third and things get twisted and stuff and misinformation, so DNA is what it is. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the true story of your family, the true story of how you are here. And DNA don't lie. You have to accept it. It would be better for you to accept it than to just go in denial like, oh my God. You could do your DNA 50 times, it's still going to come back the same thing. It's not going to change. So if you like do your DNA and like, okay, how come I don't got this or how come I have this? Okay, I'm going to do it again. You could do it as many times as you want. Your DNA is not going to change. The test is, you know, the results are going to come back the same. Okay, it's going to come back the same. It's not going to change. It's not going to change. Like when it came back for me, okay, seven African region and European and Asian and Native American, I was like, okay, okay. I just wrapped my head around it for a minute. Okay, okay, I'm not as okay. I not as what I think I was. I thought, okay, it's just gonna come back saying Africa and British, England but when it came back with the other European countries and Caucasus, I was like, oh, you know, but you just have to. Now, someone asked me, do I not consider myself black anymore? I will always consider myself black. That's how the world sees me. That's how the world sees me. Not that I really care what the world thinks, but first and secondly, Africa is where life began, and Africa is where my ancestors started. So I will always consider Africa first. Very, very proud Africa. And especially now that I know especially now that I know, also because I had my DNA reanalyzed and now I know which African tribes that I come from the result from the test they have of those African people. So I'll always consider myself African. I consider myself, I say I'm a black multiracial person. You know, I will always say black. I will never I know some people, like there's this guy on YouTube who, he's dark and, very African looking, who says, well, I don't really consider myself African anymore because, fully black anymore because now I found out I have European in me. So I don't consider myself black anymore. And I'm saying to myself, the world will always see you as black. The world doesn't care if your great grandmama was white. The world don't care if I have Native American and Irish ancestors or, Scandinavian ancestors and British and whatever else ancestors. The world will always see me as African. So, sometimes sometimes people get disappointed too. Like, for example, if someone is black and they want to find out if they, how much European they have in them, and it may not be as much European as they thought they had. They get disappointed, like, well, okay, I'm more black than European. They get disappointed, or, sometimes people get disappointed that way, like, okay, I'm just going to do it because I know I have more European in I know I have some European in me, and it may come back saying you don't have any European in you, or if you do, it may come back saying very, very, very little, and they get disappointed, like, oh, well, no, that must be wrong. I know I have more percentage, you know. You just have to accept it. You just have to accept it because DNA doesn't lie. So if it comes back saying, okay, you are 99 or 92%, 92% European and the rest mixtures of you have to accept it. If it comes back that you are 98% African, you have to accept it. You can't just say, well, this must be wrong. I know I have more European in me. You just have to accept it because DNA doesn't lie. I would love to do though? I would love to take all them racist KKK people and Ku Klux Klan people and all the rest of them. I would love to take their DNA. I would love to let someone do their DNA to see. Let's see how pure white you think you are. A lot of people, oh, I'm pure white. I'm pure this. I'm pure that. Nobody is pure. And there are very few people in the world that are pure anything. The world is a mixture of different things, some more than others, but very few people in the world from different parts of the world that are